The answer to the title of this video is yes, but stick with me, there's more to this. So complaining within the Dead by Daylight community is probably one of the single most common, well, ironically, complaints that I seem to hear. Everybody in the Dead by Daylight community likes to talk about how the Dead by Daylight community complains too much. Never mind the fact that, well, you get the point by now. I've heard a lot of complaints being in the Dead by Daylight community. In fact, as I told my friend the fake Bennett during a podcast that I was on with him, I pride myself in finding every stupid, minuscule, insignificant, benign bullshit complaint that I can find within the Dead by Daylight community. It's actually a hobby of mine to find the most absurd things that people complain about, because you never know when you're going to be able to make a video out of it. I've seen a survivor complain that scratch marks exist. That killers should not get to have scratch marks because it gives them too much information. And yes, I am fucking serious. And yes, I do still have the screenshot. Here it is on screen for you. They also complained about crows. And this is just a small sample, right? I've seen people complain that the exit gates take 16 seconds. Not survivors complaining that 16 seconds is too long. Killers complaining that 16 seconds is too short. I've seen people complain about the visual terror radius because they don't think that hearing people should be able to play the game. You know how it is. We've already had this accessibility conversation several times on this channel. And no, I don't give a fuck how much you think deaf people being able to do the exact same things a hearing person can do is somehow an unfair advantage. Eat my dick, right? There's just the amount of complaints that happen within this community is excessive. And a lot of it has to do with the addiction to misery, or misery loves company is the more common phrase. People who are just miserable about this game want everybody else to be with them. People who do not like to play this game yet play it anyway, unhealthy obsession video, continuously come about and talk about all the things they don't like about the game because they want everybody else to join them in their complaints. Whenever you see these absolutely absurd, asinine complaints coming out of the woodwork and pouring out of people's mouths, it is because they want everyone else to be as miserable as them. They want everybody else to join them in hating the game and disliking the game and attacking the devs and all of this other stuff. No matter who it is, no matter how small of a person they are, they want other people to join them. This is also a big problem with rage queuing. People play the game and then they complain and then they re-queue and then they complain and then they re-queue. Again, I've dedicated an entire video to this. I called it the unhealthy obsession. In it, I covered two types of quote unquote unhealthy obsession, which was one, rage queuing, meaning that no matter how much you hate the game, you continue to queue up to play another part of the game. And your constant bitching and moaning and complaining not only affects your mental health, but the mental health of people around you. And then I also talked about people who leave the game. They stop playing the game, sometimes even years ago, and then they still go and they interact with the Dead by Daylight community, and they insert all of these little complaints. Like, you know how I can tell whenever someone hasn't played the game for a long time? Anytime I make an update about something that I didn't like of, let's say, a PTB, or the devs left something in that I wasn't really fond of, you'll get a comment that says, the devs never listen to us. And that is legitimately, provably, factually untrue. You can legit go back over the past almost 2 years now and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes, they have. Look at all of the stuff that they listen to the community on. And that is probably, in my opinion, the biggest problem with complaints in the Dead by Daylight community. But I do believe, at least in my opinion, that the complaining from the Dead by Daylight community is nothing more than really a vocal minority. It is a group of people who don't make up the vast majority of the community and instead are just incredibly fucking loud about their incessant bitching. But then you have the opposite problem. If you've been missing streams and want to see live gameplay, then go ahead and check out my YouTube channel, The Kaiser VODs, where I upload every game that I play in multi-hour compilations. We also have a collection of short compilations of clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description. On the flip side of the coin of people who complain too much, you have people who engage in what I like to call toxic positivity. Everything to these people, every single form of criticism is some sort of massive whiny complaint that they can't stand. This happened when I did the video on the Blood Moon event, the first video, not the updated version, where I was like, hey, look, behavior fixed the problem, or fixed one of the problems rather. Whenever I made that video, people were like, oh my God, like, why are you complaining? It's free stuff. Y'all are so ungrateful. And like, who's y'all? Because I've been very vocal, even before that video, I've been very vocal about my support for behavior. I'm one of the first people to stand up for behavior whenever someone says something that I personally find unfair to say about the developers. I talk all the time about how hard game development is and how difficult it can be to try to please multiple people, especially millions of people, like the player base of your game. So to kind of attribute this, all y'all do is complain shit to me is weird. But also, I feel like that doesn't apply to things like criticism. I made an entire video on the concept of insults versus criticism and telling the devs things like, hey, you overpromised something and underdelivered it is a criticism. Saying, hey, I think that this was made a little bit too much in a rush and needs to be pulled back and reevaluated is a criticism. Saying things like, I would like you guys to do a collision overhaul because I'm tired of getting robbed for no reason is a criticism. None of these are insults. And when you look at criticisms and you're like, oh my God, just why are you complaining? Y'all complain too much. Then it creates the opposite issue. Complaining too much creates the issue of bringing every fucking body else's mood down. Nobody wants to be around somebody who bitches all the fucking time and never has anything nice to say. But on the opposite side, if you're constantly trying to ignore all forms of criticism and all forms of any kind of pointing out things that are wrong, then you're creating a bad environment because then that means shit never gets fixed. Things that are realistically speaking bad for the game or unhealthy for the game will never get fixed because all of you are just sitting there like you should never just talk bad ever. Nothing negative can ever be said. And I hate both of these things. Criticism is a very important part of game design. It is something that needs to be done because that is how things improve, especially in live service games. And I always try to make sure that my criticisms are met with solutions. If I complain about something, I like to always have a solution next to it so that I can try to at least provide some sort of balance to the things that I don't like. But in conclusion, this video was more to talk about how I don't like over complainers, but I also don't like people who think that you should never criticize ever. These are two sides of a very annoying coin, and they're two types of people that I just really do not like dealing with. But as always, I don't make these videos just to spout my opinions at you. I make them so that you can tell me what you think. So let me know down below. And a very great big special thank you to my channel members listed on the screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.